Want candy? Want candy now?
What is going on, everybody? Nazdarachi coming back at you again for another Relic review episode. We are going to be very quickly looking at the Sleeping Mountain, which is a mini Final Fantasy XV event where we can collect Noctis and all 3 of his memory load crystals. And as well, we have Phase 2 of the Summerfest 2017 banners. This is one that does highly interest me for not only Noctis's OSB, but Maria's BSB, as well as Eco's USB, and maybe a couple other things also. So, first and foremost, the Sleeping Mountain event is just 2 difficulties, 2 quick events. You should be able to power through it very, very easily and get all the stuff. I think I killed the Adamantoise in 1 hit on the first difficulty, and about 2 or 3 hits on the second difficulty. So with that being said, collect Noctis, do your events, get all your stuff on par. As well, remember that the phases of Orbfest have shifted, so stay on top of that. And let's go ahead and check out the Relic banner here. So our first Relic here is Ultra Soul Break for Tifa. It is the Premium Heart, a fist weapon. Looks very interesting over here. You have 172 attack, no other stats, and only, unfortunately, in Final Fantasy VII dungeons, you get a small boost to earth damage. Your Ultra Soul Break Meteo Drive, it's 10 physical, earth, and non-elemental attacks to 1 target, and temporarily grant haste, a barrier that reflects damage, so basically Radiant Shield, and major regen to all allies. This does have very good tactical use. I don't personally think it's better than Yuffie's Ultra Soul Break from Banner 1, but I do already have Tifa's SSB and her OSB, so honestly I wouldn't really mind pulling it. It does provide a nice high number of attacks, and as well, the haste is good for Final Fantasy VII synergy if you're not bringing Onion Knight, for example, or Ram's a Shout. And the barrier that reflects damage won't stack very well with a wall effect, but it can be useful for getting bosses to chip damage themselves down a little bit. Regen, of course, good for combating poison and sap. It seems like you have about a 0.65% chance to pull the Premium Heart here. And again, it's not really the one that I want on the banner. I'm really looking for Noctis or this Ultra Soul Break right here, or even potentially Maria's BSB. But since I already have Tifa fairly well developed, I wouldn't mind pulling it. It's pretty good. Next up, we have Lamia's Flute. It is Eco's USB. So instrument with 115 attack, 135 magic, and 160 mind. And you have a small chance to silence as a bonus effect. Can maybe be useful in certain situations, but a lot of bosses are going to resist that. Honestly, you know, I know it's a weapon, so that's why it has damage bonuses, but the resistance to silence would almost be preferred. Ultra Soul Break Guardian Mog. Instantly restore a large amount of HP to all allies and grant them last stand and haste. This is a very, very good USB. Again, probably not quite as good as Rosa's because Rosa has access to Wrath, as many people have pointed out. So you'll be getting Rosa's USB out very quickly and staying alive pretty well. But this one is still coming in with an instant restore a large amount of HP. You get the last stand and the haste. As well, it's not quite as good in my opinion as Yuna's USB, which grants resurrection, a heal, last stand, and haste also, because it does have that resurrection effect that it's trading for the instant on this one. Personally, I wouldn't mind having this because Eco is a top tier character even in Japan right now. She is one of the best healers in the game. You definitely see her being used quite a bit. So this would be very good for future development for me. I do have Eco's BSB. So again, another one I would not mind here. 1.30% it's looking like on Lamia's Flute here. And next up, we have the OSB that I truly, truly want on this banner. Now, of course, it will be back, seeing as how Final Fantasy XV is just now being introduced. We're going to see a whole slew of new Final Fantasy XV content coming up here soon. This is just kind of like a teaser, so don't be too upset if you pull for this one and you don't happen to get it. Like I'm about to do, I have 1 pull that I want to make. I would really love this sword, but if I don't get it, Final Fantasy XV will be back around, most definitely. So, with that being said, you have 172 attack, no other stats, no bonus effects on this sword. Overstrike Soul Break Armiger, deal massive physical damage to 1 target, Grant the user a barrier that negates attack damage up to 30% of their max HP. So it's basically your Stola's Stone Skin buff, but it does have some interesting effects that it gives you. So while the bubble shield is active, you are in Armiger mode, which basically increases your attack and it reduces the delay of his actions. Now, as soon as he receives enough damage to pop the bubble shield, the Armiger mode will end and you'll have to recast. But Noctis is an amazing non-elemental damage dealer. He is kind of suffering from Onion Knight syndrome, where, as far as I know, he doesn't have really any elements attached to him. Interesting, because he could use magic in Final Fantasy XV. But with that being said, he's still going to be a very powerful character, and teaming him up with a good Final Fantasy XV team will be fun for me. I definitely liked the game, at least the first 2/3 of it. So we will be hoping for this Armiger Sword of the Father here, and it looks like you're sitting at about a 0.75% chance to pull it, so relatively low, unfortunately. Next up, we have Cloud's OSB. This is a very, very old OSB, probably the first one if I'm not mistaken, at least in global. You have the Ragnarok Sword, 164 attack, no other stats, and small synergy only bonus to wind damage, unfortunately. He could really use that in every realm. But Overstrike Soulbreak Finishing Touch, deal massive physical wind and non-elemental damage to one target, can break the damage cap. This is going to be less relevant when Cloud's USB comes out because you can just keep spamming the USB and his BSB too, but it's still good to have, not only for the mastery points, but for the finishing move aspect of it. Unfortunately, it is very basic. Like I said, being the first Overstrike Soulbreak to really come out, it doesn't have any special modifiers on it or any unique little goodies that make it really stand out. But again, it does give him the mastery points and a finishing move option. So if I happen to miss Noctis Sword and I get this instead, I honestly won't be upset because currently I only have Cloud's BSB2. And it looks like we have about a 1.12% chance to pull a Ragnarok here. Again, great finishing move addition to wind-based Final Fantasy VII Cloud team, which is very basic overall. Runegrave Bow. This is Maria's BSB. This is a fantabulous BSB here. 81 attack, 126 magic, and no other stats, no bonus effects either. You have your Burst Soulbreak Meteor XVI or Meteor 16. Deal 8 magic, earth, and non-elemental attacks to one target. Grant haste burst mode to the user, and temporarily infuse the user with the power of earth. That will stack nicely with her BSB commands, and as well, earth is very underused secondary element. It doesn't necessarily deal as much damage as primary elements, but as we know, it usually is resisted a lot less often also. Now, the burst commands are what really make this a great BSB here. We'll start with Burst Command 2, Sunfire, 2 magic, earth, fire attacks to all targets, temporarily lower the user's defense and raise the user's magic a moderate amount. So we have a pretty standard bargain here, and this, along with a couple other buffs, will get her to hit the cap where Break is going to be doing the full 6 hits, phenomenal damage. So 3 to 6 magic, earth, non-elemental attacks to one target with a small chance to petrify them. The number of attacks dealt depends on the user's magic. So again, we'll use Sunfire, we'll use maybe Onion Knight buff, Sheep Song, a couple other stacking magic buffs, Mog even. Once we get her stacked up, it is pretty easy for her to hit this cap, relatively low compared to a lot of the other mages that have similar BSBs. So this is a great BSB. Honestly, I'd love to have this one. And we are looking at around a 1.49% chance to pull it here. Next up, we have a Monk BSB, the Shura Gloves for Rafia here. We got 26 attack, 18 magic, 93 defense, 89 resistance, 19 mind, and a small boost to fire damage constantly in effect. Dance of Carnage, 8 physical fire non-elemental attacks to one target, raise the user's critical hit chance a large amount, haste burst mode to the user. So she's buffing her own critical hit chance, which will play into her burst commands here. So Riddle of the Flame, 4 ranged physical fire non-elemental attacks to one target, critical hits deal additional damage. And Fires of Carnage, 2 ranged physical fire non-elemental attacks to all targets, temporarily lower the user's defense and raise the user's attack a moderate amount. So we got a nice bargain again on Command 2 here that'll definitely help buff Rafia up here. You're going to want to combine this with something like Shout or again Onion buff or potentially both, because she only gets a buff to her critical hit chance, so increasing her attack will also stack nicely to get some more damage out of this. Very, very good fire BSB here. Honestly, I don't really want this one so much on the banner, only because Rafia is not really a favorite character of mine, but having it, honestly, is not bad at all. It is quite a good fire BSB. It'll team up really well with something like Sabin's BSB if you're building a fire / monk team. So keep that in mind, something definitely worth having here. And it looks like you have about a 1.49% chance to see the Shura Gloves here. So next up we have the Flamestat, Vivi's BSB. This is another great fire-based BSB, but in the magic department this time. 55 attack, 126 magic, and 63 mind. You also get your constant small boost to fire damage, which is always in effect. It's good, it'll help out Vivi quite a bit. Burst Soul Break, Proof of Existence, 4 magic, fire, non-elemental attacks to all targets. Grant haste burst mode to the user, and temporarily infuse the user with the power of fire. Again, will fit in great on a magic DPS team, or as well, a fire-oriented team. Vivi and Kuja are your two main mages from Final Fantasy IX, Kuja being more dark-oriented, and Vivi being more actual black magic-oriented here. Your burst abilities, double cast Fire, deal 4 magic fire non-elemental attacks to one target, and double cast Fire all, deal 2 magic fire non-elemental attacks to all targets. Unfortunately, you don't have any really outstanding secondary effects. No cast time reduction, no bargains, so anything like that. But it will stack quite nicely with his legendary Materia Relic. So if you do have decreased cast time on him, or haste, something like that to speed him up, that increased cast time is going to pay off on these burst commands by outputting quite a bit more damage. So unfortunately, the commands themselves are lacking some good modifiers, but if you happen to have his legend materia, you could end up doing some pretty reasonable damage there, and it will feed into his OSB quite nicely also. So you do have about a 1.30% chance to pull the Flame Staff there. Next up we have Tifa's BSB, the Oversoul. 128 attack, no other stats, no bonus effects, so no plus earth damage unfortunately. Burst Soul Break, Meteor Crusher, 8 physical earth attacks to one target, haste burst mode to the user, and temporarily infuse the user with the power of earth. That will stack quite nicely into her OSB, so this is a pretty good BSB for Tifa here. So monk abilities here, burst command Falcon Dive, 2 physical earth non-elemental attacks to all targets, and elbow smash, 4 physical earth non-elemental attacks to one target. So very basic offensive BSB commands here, they just reverse the order. Normally command 1 is the 4 attacks to 1 and command 2 is the 2 AoEs. They just reverse them, and unfortunately, just like Vivi here, no special modifiers or anything fancy on the commands themselves to make them really shine. Tifa is not my ideal Final Fantasy VII character, but she is really cute, everyone knows that. She is still very capable and a reasonable character. I'd be going more for the win-based Final Fantasy VII team myself, but definitely we could squeeze Tifa in if we happen to pull her BSB and or her USB. Looks like the Oversoul here is about 2.04% chance to drop. Next up, not really going to get too heavy into this one, Onion Knight's most popular BSB, Vessel of Fate. You get the moderate buff to attack and magic, haste across the board, and the delay reduction 4-hit magic and physical hybrid burst commands. Very, very good BSB. It definitely stands the test of time and will be relevant for quite a bit longer into the game's lifespan. So you definitely would want this one if you don't already have it. I do already have my Onion Knight fully maxed out, so trying to avoid those gloves as much as I can, as well as Onion Knight's other relic, and it seems like you have about a 0.5% chance to pull the Onion Gauntlets, so they might not show up here. Hopefully they don't, but if you guys really need them, I hope you do get them. It's an amazing BSB. It also stacks with tons of other good buffs. So next up here we have the Sainty. It is a fist weapon for Preesh, 136 attack, no other stats, no bonus effects. Nullifying Dropkick, Burst Soul Break, 8 physical attacks to one target, reduce the delay of the user's monk abilities for 5 turns, and grant haste and burst mode to the user. So pretty interesting entry effects here. I am kind of used to seeing some quirky stuff on monk BSBs. You do have the 8 attacks to one target, so you do have reasonably good damage output with that. As well, you have the delay reduction. Worst part about it is they're physical only, so you're not going to have an attached element to help beef this up a little bit here. But it is, again, the 5 turns of delay reduction are definitely going to be useful. Spin combo, 3 to 6 physical attacks to one target, The number of attacks depends on the number of different monk abilities the user has used. Resets the monk ability count. So this is, in my opinion, a less useful BSB1 command than something like Sabin's BSB1 command, for example, or Rafia. It is purely physical damage, so no attached element, and you do have to kind of mix and match different abilities to get full usage of the attack multiplier on this. Out of the monk abilities we're seeing on this banner so far, this would be my least favorite one out of all of them, but it still can see, I guess, some reasonable use here. Headlong Tackle, deal 4 physical attacks to one target, temporarily lower the user's defense and raise the user's attack a moderate amount. It does have a bargain on Burst Command 2 to help bring its value back up a little bit, so you will be able to buff her attack multiple times and stack her quite nicely here. And then hopefully you can rotate your monk commands and pump out these 6 attacks fairly regularly. That does make this actually a reasonably good BSB. It's just really the major drawback of it is A, there's nothing attached to it, elementally speaking, and B, the Burst Command 1 has a reset on it, so you're going to have to rebuild your stacks to get that full effect out of it. Unlike Maria's BSB on this banner, where once you hit that cap, you're pumping out 6 attacks every time you hit that burst command. So with that being said, Sainty, probably one of my lesser wanted BSBs on this banner. Still more useful for me than a dupe of Onion Knight's BSB would be, but we're definitely not looking for this one on this banner here, and it says about 0.4% chance for this to drop. I would expect some of these low percentages to round out to about 1% by the time more pulls have been made and things kind of average out a little bit. So next up here we have Eternal Staff. I already have this 6-starred here, so another Onion Knight item I would really hope to avoid. But you have 55 attack, 127 magic, 105 mind. You have minor resistance to silence, so this is actually quite useful. Any magic user that needs that effect can throw this on there, and it definitely will be handy for bosses that spam out lots of silences. Super Soul Break Blowback, 5 magic non-elemental attacks to all targets, and restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies based on their max. The only time I've ever really used this was when I was desperately in need for a supplementary heal. The damage is really never that great on it because it's just non-elemental magic, and that's all there is to really say about it. I mean, emergency heal, that's really the only time you're going to need to use this to back up your main healer. It seems like you have about a 0.93% chance to pull the Eternal Staff. Like I said, hopefully we can avoid that like the plague. And as well as this Excalibur here, I really want to avoid this. I have 2 of these at 6-star already. I've already drawn like 5 or 6 of them. Excalibur for Celeste here. It's the Indomitable Blade sword, so it is a very useful effect, but it is kind of nullified by her new BSB 2 that just came out. So you got 123 attack and small boost to holy damage always in effect. That is pretty good for a 5-star sword to have that bonus effect there. Although we see lots of swords with plus holy damage, so not necessarily very unique, but still cool. Super Soul Break is the Indomitable Blade. 5 physical attacks to one target, and absorb enemy black and white magic to restore 1 ability use per attack absorbed. So this is a highly useful Super Soul Break. Don't get it twisted, even though the BSB 2 is out. If you don't have the BSB 2 but you happen to still have this Indomitable Blade, basically she will be the magnet for all the spells. It allows you to bring really low honed, powerful 5 and 6-star abilities to battle and continually use them as long as your enemy is pumping out magic damage that she can absorb. So with that being said, you would prefer to have her BSB 2, but if for whatever reason you missed out on it, don't have it, and you do happen to get this, this is a very top tier Super Soul Break that is only recently starting to fall off with some of her more powerful additions to her armada here. So it looks like you have about a 2.60% chance to draw this Excalibur. Oh, for the love of God, I really want to avoid this one because I have so many of them already. So that is all the items on the banner. Let's pop in a 100 gem draw on this bad boy and see if we get any luck, break the streak of a poor 100 gem draws. So here we go. Let's see. Only a 4-star. Still not having any 5-star luck on 100 gem draws. Now I do think I am going to make 111 pull on this banner. It is one of 2 banners that isn't over 50% dupe chance for me. Instead of pulling again on Final Fantasy VI, I've kind of decided to wager a draw here. So let's get that rolling, and I will be with you shortly. The 11 draw has been made. I'm not getting my hopes up on anything here. because it's just a bad idea to get your hopes up these days. Oh man. Oh god, 1 6-star. Please, Noctis. Alright, let's power through all this ridiculousness here. I don't have any 6-star dupes on this banner, so honestly, everything is gravy. Ooh, nice. We got Tifa's BSB. That will help me round her out quite nicely. One draw. Oh! Yes! Fuck yes. Fuck yes! That is exactly what I wanted. Thank you, fucking RNGesus. We're gonna have some good edits on this one here. Fuck yes, man. Thank God. Such a good draw for me. Wow. Not speechless, but super stoked, you guys. I hope that if you pulled on this banner, you had amazing luck and got some reasonable items that you wanted as well. I will be definitely boosting Noctis up and using this as soon as humanly possible. And this was a really good draw. BSB for Tifa I didn't have, and Noctis OSB. Super stoked. This definitely makes me very happy compared to the pummeling in the groin that I received from the Final Fantasy VI banners. So, with that being said, feel free to throw a like on the video if you enjoy the content. It really helps me out. And sub to the channel, join the family. Link to Discord will be down in the description, so if you are a Discord user, pop in and join us there as well. Also, leave a comment and tell me what you pulled on this banner or any of the other phases or banners you may have pulled on. And until next time, I will see you later, you guys. Have a good one. Peace out. Yes! Woohoo! Good pull. Good pull.